limping down the hall. It's too late now, 'cause here comes Uncle Paul.
Let me show you how to make a big boy love you.
In today's episode, Uncle Paul recalls his favorite Jordache commercial.
Yay! That was Timothy and Amber. She would always jump up. I'd say, "You got the look," and she'd go, "I want to know better." And I'd say, "You got the look," and she'd say something, and I'd put her face in the pillow. Yeah, we'd all dance Jordache, and I'd slide him down. Sure, I'd say, "Let me smell that word." Yeah, I could always tell when she'd been running around, because her little feet would smell. And sometimes Jordache in that little middle scene keeps the smell of the privacy. Yeah, the jeans would just keep that in there. Scrub-a-dub-dub. Somebody's becoming a woman. They're so young, their bodies are confused. The body don't know what it's doing. I bet you was jogging around the playground. You fall off the jungle, Jim? I smell a little copper.
My dad says when we're in my room, we have to keep the door open.
Jordache Basics.
I'm not going to do anything different if the door's not open.
Who's that old guy over there? Uncle Paul, with the creepy old guy stare. Uncle Paul, now he's coming over here, slowly limping down the hall. It's too late now, 'cause here comes Uncle Paul.
The Opie and Anthony Show is back on Sirius XM.
Jesus, Jimmy.
Who fucking ruined that Uncle Paul bit?
What do you mean?
Who went in there and put all that extra shit in there?
It's always been like that.
No, it has not. That music, absolutely not.
It's 2 years old.
But I haven't heard that. I've never heard that version with the music in it and with the that words at the end. I've never heard that.
Yeah. As far as I know, we've never gone into a piece of production and then changed
that Uncle Paul bit with the Jordache music.
It's always
I've never heard that, dude.
I don't remember either, but
none of us do. That was changed. Did Sal do that?
Yeah, it was Sal.
Well, but I asked him.
No, he didn't. No, we don't go in and edit bits after they've already been on the air.
That's horrendous.
No, that's just how it's always been.
Oh, I never noticed it. I mean, I never heard it. Thanks.
I think you should pay more attention, Jim.
I do.
No, you don't.
I promise. I'm always here. Bell's on, ready to go.
I know, this song is fun.
Is the guy here?
Yeah.
That's him.
Yeah.
Yep, Joby.
Let me get a couple bites in.
I think that's him.
Let him wait for a second.
He's gonna fly like a bird. Oh, there we go. How you doing, sir?
Right.
Take a seat right there. That's it.
You have the look. Here's the look of a guy who's going to do something crazy.
Like a Daredevil thing going on?
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been getting that a lot lately.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Well, this is quite amazing.
Well, we got to start with how do you pronounce your name?
Joby Ogwyn.
Joby Ogwyn.
All right.
And you're going to jump from the top of the of Mount Everest.
I am. I'm going to try.
That's like a few stunts in one.
It is kind of like a few
just
stunts
getting
in
up
one,
there is kind of a problem.
Oh, yeah, let's start there. You've been to the top a bunch of times, right?
3 times, 3 expeditions there. This is the 4th one, yeah.
The youngest guy ever to do it, I heard?
Or I was the youngest American.
Wow, they have subcategories?
Oh, yeah.
It's like, oh, that's it?
Oh, the youngest American. No, of course that's incredibly impressive. But you also did it without oxygen?
I tried it without oxygen. I got within about 300 feet of the top and had to turn around because a storm was blowing.
But
wow. But I had gone from base camp to almost the top in like 10 and a half hours. So I was doing a speed ascent without oxygen and solo. No Sherpas, no ropes, none of that. So
no ropes?
No ropes, yeah. Just free climbing everything. Yeah, so it was even I didn't get those last few hundred feet, it was still probably one of my more impressive
But who else was up there? Couldn't you just say you did it?
The Yeti was up there, you know.
Oh, man. the Yeti, yes. It like the Yeti.
But without ropes, I mean, how dangerous does it get? How narrow do some of those areas get when you're climbing?
Well, this was on the north side, so it's kind of the north face. So everything's a little bigger and more wide open. The south side, which I'll climb for this particular project for Discovery, is a little more narrow and sharper on the ridge. So it's definitely hard.
I love Mount Everest stuff. So how many people die a year doing this or attempting?
Oh, plenty.
Do they have an
Several
actual
people
number?
die every year. But
Yeah.
I mean, there's never been a year that people haven't died trying to get to the top.
And they're also talking about finally cleaning up the bodies.
Yeah, well, it's kind of hard to do.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to do anything at 27,000 feet, where they're at up there. So it's kind of hard to justify spending a bunch of money and risking guys' lives.
And you've obviously seen the bodies, right? They're well marked. They're actually used as markers.
There are some that are used as landmarks almost, which is kind of sad, but true.
Yeah, make a left at Ed. It's kind of frightening.
It's like old blue gloves and green boots. There's a guy green boots.
I've seen green boots. I forgot some website did a whole thing on a lot of the bodies that you see as you're climbing. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, I mean they're frozen and wedged in there pretty good. So it's more like just don't disturb them, and But there's one green boots guy. You have to actually step over him to get where you're going.
Well,
so.
Why wouldn't people move him to the side a little bit?
He is moved to the side a little bit. He's kind of in what they call the cave area, which is a place, it's kind of a protected place. But, what you see is a lot of these guys, they just get exhausted. They make it to the top or close to the top. And trying to get down, and they just sit down in the snow and they just fall.
Which is harder, getting up or down? Because getting down seems like it would be harder because you can't see where you're putting your foot.
That's kind of true. The only thing that keeps me going down is the motivation of usually having gotten to the top. You're kind of stoked that you made it work. So you're excited to get back down and get out of there.
Now, Green Boots has a family. Like, they never try to figure out how to get his body down?
Yeah, I mean, they might have, but, I mean, I know other people who have tried to do that, but it's just, you would have to spend the hundreds of thousands of dollars, and if you don't have that kind of money to be able to do it, it would be a massive undertaking because you'd have to. Yeah, I mean, most of these guys are very close to the top.
I also hear that people die because there's like log jams and stuff.
Well, that's the problem in the last several years is there's way too many people up there, and 99 out of 100 of them shouldn't be there in the first place.
Wow, really?
And there's a lot of people that are holding you up, and you only have a certain amount of time, and then there becomes some kind of logjam as you're waiting for people to come back down from some of these narrow areas that you have to get through.
Yeah, right at near the top is where it really gets tight, and unfortunately, there's just too many people doing it. But the country needs the money. They're one of the poorest countries in the world. That's one of their main revenue
so
streams.
They're just like, hey, anybody,
pretty much.
How much does it cost? Like, let's say we want to do it. How much would it cost us?
The cheapest you're going to get is like, $30,000
a person,
and you're not going to be having a very good time at base camp because you're going to be eating rice and lentils the whole time.
Wow.
It's not a high end trip, but if you want to go and do it the right way and have the best support, it's 65, and up, $65,000. So, for us, hopefully we'll be able to be a really tight, fast, lightweight team, and we could be well ahead of most of those guys.
One more question before we get into your stunt. How long can you stay at the top before you really got to turn around?
The very tip top, if you got plenty of oxygen, you can stay for, a couple hours at the most, but most people, when you realize you get to the top, you realize how far away you are from everything.
And you just want to get back down.
You get a few photos and then you're out of there.
What's the average stay time, like 15 minutes or so?
Something like that, 15, 20 minutes, probably like that now. I stayed up there an hour one time. The first time I actually did it because we just had such perfect weather. I was enjoying it.
And describe that. Describe the feeling of being up there for an hour, more or less by yourself. I mean, some people are coming and going, obviously, but
I was
goes
really
through
lucky
your mind?
Because the first time I did it, actually, all 3 times that I've been up there, I've found myself alone or with just 1 or 2 other people. So I had a really nice experience in that. But the feeling is great because you're as far away from everybody and all your problems and issues and normal life as you can possibly be. So that part of it, at least for me, is a really great feeling. Just you're just away from everything.
How big is the area up there? Like you said, there's a couple of people. Like when you're standing on the tip, how big of an area do you have?
If you're standing on the tip top, it's like a little snow cone. So 2 people can stand on the tip top, but if the area right below it is actually where I'll be and where I'll jump from, so it's pretty big. I mean, it's a couple, maybe 3 or 4 times the size of this room.
How far is that from the top of the snow cone?
It's right there. You know, as soon as you kind of walk down a little bit, it expands out. So the area, you know, can accommodate lots of people. It's just that the area below that to get to that top, the little ridge to the summit is very tight.
300. I'm still stuck on 300 feet. So you can look up and just see it. And how much longer would that have taken you?
That's the problem at that altitude. It doesn't sound like a very long distance. It's not. I had actually done all the climbing. I just kind of walk across the ridge, but it would have been an hour and a half or something like that minimum. Yeah,
it's a minimum hour and a half to go 300 feet at that height.
Climbing without oxygen, all alone. Yeah,
an hour and a half.
Going.
Why do you just get completely out of breath really quickly, or
you're just like you're kind of in slow motion. You start to hallucinate a little bit. You kind of seeing things. I was watching little gremlins crawling around that obviously weren't there.
Whoa.
You know, so your mind's playing tricks on you a little bit. Yeah, maybe they were. I've seen a Yeti too. So.
Yeah, the Yeti. Or his North American
did you really
cousin,
see a Yeti,
the
or just
Sasquatch.
No, I've seen.
Wait, he said he saw a
Yeah,
Yeti. I thought you were just
Yeti.
joking about that shit.
Everybody always thinks I am, but it's totally true. 2004 in Tibet, I was climbing the 6th highest mountain in the world. It was a full moon. Walked right out of my tent. There he was.
Come on.
A Yeti.
And what'd you say?
I say a Yeti because I think he's not the Yeti because there must be more than one, but it looked like a little bear. And then
so why wasn't it just a little bear?
Left. Well, the reason I realized it wasn't a bear is because it sat there for about 10 seconds and then
drove away.
I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I was like, but when it left, it took one big leap and it jumped over a mountain of rocks that must have been 300 feet high. So it just like disappeared.
Whoa.
Sure it didn't fly?
It looked like it was flying. I was standing there with 10 other people though, so it wasn't like I was crazy.
It didn't jump 300 feet.
It looked like it took 2 steps and went up and out of there. It was
and
a big
they all
hill of
saw
rocks. Everybody with me saw it. Even the Sherpa cook boy just said, "Don't go up there." That was his exact words.
So they all believe in the Yeti, the Sherpas and stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, I think it's a real.
They're
animal.
not dumb people.
No, they're not super educated, but they live in an area where
they know their surroundings. Is what I mean.
Yeah, they know their surroundings. Sure,
and they believe.
Yeah,
and you believe now.
I'm a believer now. Yeah,
William Shatner saw one of those.
Yeah.
It was on the wing of an airplane. I swear.
Was the air thin when you saw the Yeti?
I
got to challenge you on this a little bit.
They're like, I knew I let the can out there on that one. No, I was at base camp, so it wasn't like, we weren't. But I had summited twice on this mountain, and I had just done a speed ascent, and it was a full moon. But, it was a strange thing. Actually came up and shook the tent I was in. We thought I was sitting in there with having dinner with like 10 or 12 other guys from Spain, friends of mine, and something grabbed the tent and started shaking it, the corner of the tent I was sitting in. And we thought, oh, it's a buddy of ours. Somebody's going to walk in. And when nobody walked in, we were like, what the hell was that? So we walked out of the tent to go and look at, and everybody was kind of staring at it. I was like, what are you guys staring at? And boom, there it was.
How big?
It was big. I mean, it was crouched down, and it seemed to be about like that.
That's about what, 4 feet?
4 feet high.
I think if it stood up, it'd be a lot taller. At first, I thought it was a yak because they bring in these big furry yaks to carry all the equipment out at the end, and it was the end of the expedition. Then I quickly realized this is not a yak.
You got to shoo it away. Don't come back.
I was just curious what it wanted. I mean, it was like dinner's over.
That's fascinating. All right, so let's get to this thing. You're going to jump off the top, and you're going to use a wingsuit. We were hearing.
Well, I'm going to use a lot of different equipment to get up and get down, but the wingsuit is kind of, the main piece, and I'll have some accessories that'll allow me to jump off the top and then land at the bottom. Those are things I'm kind of keeping secret right now, and you kind of have to watch the show for that. But the main flight
springs, a few springs to push out a little further.
Giant ladder,
right?
As much as people want to try to figure it out or speculate.
Have you done a lot of wing suit jumps?
I've done a lot. Well over 1,000 now.
They look scary, man.
It is. It can be.
Are you in some of those videos where they come flying over your head?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
You've done all
really
that.
Close to that stuff. Yeah. Terrain flying.
How do you control that? Because some of those guys it looks like they're barely 20 feet off the ground when they go flying over their body, their buddy's head or something.
Yeah. I mean, you can be a lot closer than that. I've seen guys and been within inches of stuff, rock formations and stuff like that. But the suit, people don't realize how in control you actually are. I mean, you're like Superman in the suit.
Amazing.
You think, I want to go over there, and you go. Now, you can't just put the suit on and start doing that. It takes years of training and jumping out of aircraft and figuring it all out. And it took me a long time. And I'm pretty on it kind of guy. And it still took me years. And I still learn stuff every time I jump now. So it's a long process if you want to do it safely and successfully.
Now, without giving any info on what you're using, are you going to need something besides just running and jumping off the top of a mountain? Because I would assume you're not going to be able to get away faster than you're going to fall into some real estate.
Right.
Okay.
No, that's true. That's true.
Okay.
You know, the mountain is shaped. It doesn't have a perfectly vertical cliff that you can do a normal base jump off of. So what I'm going to do, I'll definitely have some accessories that'll allow me to get out and away from it.
That's going to be interesting to see.
And the air's thin. That's going to affect some
Will that help or hurt? Yeah.
Well, you know, it's funny. I thought that you would just kind of fall out of the sky. You know, you'd be swimming a little bit. But I did a test jump in 2010 out of an airplane and jumped from almost right at the summit level, right next to Everest. Like I just flew right next to Everest, and I flew down and landed at the base camp, and all the equipment worked great. There's some equipment I'll use that I haven't used that I couldn't test there, but we tested it here in the United States. So it's a cool system. It all works together. It's the coolest science, technology, James Bond style stuff.
How do you practice for something like this?
Like that, jumping out of planes, I guess.
It's a lot of jumping out of planes.
Jeez.
Right. Yeah, mostly. Helicopters, all that.
Right.
We're amazed with this guy. You know who? I'm sure you know who he is. What's his name? Alain Robert or?
The Spider-Man.
The French guy who climbs with no equipment whatsoever, just a little bit of resin or whatever, rosin for his hands. And I'm sure you could do that if you can climb with no equipment on Everest.
Well, I always like him because he's one of my heroes. He actually friended me on Facebook not too long ago, and I was watching him on the news just the other day. He's a cool guy. I always wanted to be able to do something. You know, he's one of the guys who's inspired me to do what I do now.
Do you think you could do that?
I don't think I could do it. A lot of what he's done. If I trained for a specific building, then yeah, I could do that. But I mean, he's amazing, and to do it without any safety, I'd at least like to have a parachute on or something.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Just in case.
What have you done in the past that's like, holy shit?
Well, I mean, I've done a lot of different television projects and shows and stuff, and most of my specialty was learning how to do stuff really fast. So I had a show at one point where I had to learn how to do something in like a week. So it might be like big wall mountain climbing, race car driving, bull riding, bullfighting, things like that. So extreme whitewater kayaking. You know, having a background in climbing helps a lot, or, parachuting or skydiving or base jumping or wingsuit flying, all that stuff. It's all stuff you have to learn, and it all happens quick.
Right.
So you can dig your finger. I'm always amazed at these guys. You dig your fingers into this little teeny crack in the rock, and you don't fall.
Yeah.
It's all about training. Yeah.
You must have very strong hands.
I used to. I'm getting a little older now. I'm not as fast or as strong as I used to be.
That's why you do down Everest.
Yeah. Actually, jumping off would be easier than climbing down, though, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'll be down in like 10 minutes. My camera crew, those guys will be, 2 or 3 more days to get back
man.
down. So I'll probably be here back in New York before those guys get back to base camp. Yeah, right?
Oh, that sucks for them.
Yeah.
Now, getting the equipment up there, that seems like a lot of extra weight.
It's a lot of extra stuff going up there this time, between cameras and extra suits and all the extra stuff that we have. But I've got a great Sherpa team that's going to help me get all that stuff up there.
And how long is the shoot up there? I mean, you got to figure you got to get this all done within an hour or two tops, right?
We've got 2 hours for the live show, and it starts.
But I mean, to shoot the whole thing. I mean, you're not going to have a lot of time to make sure you get everything right.
Yeah, how are you doing a live show with weather?
Well, it's just pretty simple. We just don't announce a certain date until we know that we're getting really close.
Right.
And you got to start climbing like 3 or 4 days ahead of when you want to get there, so people will have a pretty good idea.
That's what it's going to take you with the equipment and everything from base camp is about 3 days?
Yeah, probably 3, maybe 4 days, depending. Our weather reports are really, really good, so the weather tells you kind of what's happening about a week out. Yeah.
How narrow? Don't you guys sleep on fairly with the inclined areas when you're way up that high? How inclined is something you'll have to sleep on, or an area?
There's several nice flat places, and they have 4 camps. And the first, I'd say 3 out of 4 are pretty, and kind of like these big shelf kind of areas. But the third one, Camp 3, is actually on what they call the Lhotse face, which is this big 4,000-foot face that's ice and rock, and it's not a friendly place to be or a fun place to be at all. Yeah.
So how do you sleep there?
Basically, between me and my team, we have to you build a platform. So if you've got a big incline, you have to kind of chip that platform out. So it's a lot of work up there. Yeah.
You've seen the tents where they're right on the side of the mountain, right?
Oh, yeah.
Those things are. You've slept in those?
I've slept in those where you're completely vertical.
Just a sheer wall.
Yeah. Just a wall.
Sam, show Jimmy if you.
How do you sleep like that? What do you got to do if you got to pee? Where do you walk?
I don't know how you
hate
get.
that.
That's a good question.
I don't know how you get a good night's sleep.
He says
I can't sleep well in my bed. I have sleep apnea. Can you plug in a sheet up there?
You got to see these tents on the side of mountains. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, I've seen these things. It's just
pop one of those up.
Portal edge.
Oh,
that's how you sleep.
Yeah, I've done that.
You've actually done that.
That is nuts.
Isn't that crazy? It's all just hanging.
It's a weird feeling to be up there like that. Yeah, with nothing underneath you.
And then you wake up in the morning and realize, oh my God.
All right, I'm here.
Drop a deuce.
Yeah, because you probably have a dream like you're in bed or home, and then you wake up like, oh, that's right, I got to
look at all these tents set up.
Where do you go after you wake up? How do you climb that?
How do you clean up everything to continue climbing?
Jesus.
That's one thing about that particular type of climbing, especially, is you have so much equipment. It's just like you have to have all that stuff.
Amazing, yeah.
But the last thing you want to hear is you better hope it's a good strong tent bottom,
right?
Last thing you want to hear is
rip. Right?
You're probably also, in addition to having the tent attached to the wall, you're probably attached to the wall as well, right? So if the tent rips, you're okay.
Yeah, there's, as you can see from that photo, there's lots of safety lines and stuff. So
I don't know, man.
Yeah, you're sleeping on the side of a rock. It's not natural.
Yeah, that's crazy. We got a couple phone calls coming in for you. Let's say hi to Sean in New York City. Sean.
Hello?
Hi.
Go ahead, Sean.
How's it going? I was just curious about the diet that you guys go through as like super athletes, since you're climbing up a lot. And a buddy of mine and I, we were discussing whether or not you eat fast food. I just want to know how you felt about like Wendy's.
I actually like Wendy's. No, I live in Southern California, so it's pretty easy to eat healthy, but there has to be a balance because on expeditions, especially, you're not always able to get your wheatgrass and stuff like that.
Right,
so you got to be kind of flexible with that.
Yeah, well, you're probably not going to like Wendy's nuts to slapping off your chin. I'm punching that.
What do you need? What do you look to eat if you're looking for the energy you need to climb up a mountain like that?
I'll have pretzels.
Not you.
Jimmy.
That's a good question. The answer usually disappoints people, but Snickers bars and Coca-Cola.
Really?
That stuff actually works, huh?
It does. Coca-Cola is great. I mean, that's the original energy drink. And
but how long does it last you when you take a Snickers and a Coke? How much will that give you before you crash, a sugar crash?
Well, the thing about like high altitude climbing is that your body starts shutting down a little bit anyway, so you start to lose your appetite. Your body's trying to survive. Your digestion and all that. Everything changes, so you're not as hungry. It doesn't take as much.
Let me say hi to Jim in Ohio. Jim.
Hey.
Hey, how you doing?
Good.
Hey, I got a question for your guest. I watched this show one day when them guys were doing that fly suit thing, and they all went flying underneath this bridge. But one of the dudes hit the bridge, and I'm just wondering if this is one of the guys if it was his friend or if he was with them. Or
I know the guy who hit the bridge. I didn't know him personally, but I know the guy who was with him because he's my best friend, Jerry Corliss. Yeah, and
some blood went on that guy. It was his buddy, man. It's pretty bad.
Yeah, that was a rough one for Jeb, I think, because he survived it and his buddy died, and yeah, that was a bad.
What happened? They were flying under a bridge.
They were trying to go over a bridge, and the guy actually one guy cleared it, and the other guy hit the bridge. Yeah, it was a pretty bad scene. That was several years ago. But, it's the one good thing I would say about that is the technology of the suits has gotten a lot better.
Yeah.
That guy, he just timed it a little bit wrong. The new suits make it safer. He could have kind of popped up and gone away if he had one of those. Damn. Who knows? But I mean, anytime you're flying, a man flying is not right. A man flying close to stuff is, dangerous.
It's inherently very dangerous, yeah.
Speaking of that, Rob in Mississippi, go ahead.
Hey, fellas, how you doing?
Good, bro.
Yeah.
A question I had for you, it's a perspective, really. I don't know how the Freedom Tower is, but for example,
if all things were perfect and you lift off the Freedom Tower, how many city blocks could you travel in this suit? Or can you measure it that way?
That's a cool idea. I would love it if they'd let me do that.
They do. They love it. They just allow it.
Yeah,
they just got some guys
in jail right about now.
That. Yeah, those guys weren't very smart about how they did that. But
no.
You could fly a long way. Because once you fall like 200 or 300 feet, the suit starts going as fast as you just about want it to go. So you could hit 150 miles an hour in just a few seconds, and you could make it. You could fly all the way across Central Park kind of deal if you knew what you were doing. A long way. Yeah, you stay up there for a really big high performance suit, man. You'd everybody in New York would see you.
How great that would be to get to work that way.
Wait. So you jump from the Freedom Tower. How long before you would hit the ground? The longest you could stay up.
How tall is the Freedom Tower?
Say 1,200, 1,100 feet or so.
Oh, that's it.
1776.
Oh, that's the very top of the spire. Okay, yeah.
I would say you could fly for half a minute more before you'd even pull the parachute. Which sounds like a short period of time, but it's a long time if you're flying.
Yeah, if you're flying.
Maybe more. I mean, I know you can jump off a 2,000-foot cliff like what we do in Switzerland just for training and easily fly for close to a minute.
So you would jump off the Burj Tower. I'm obsessed with that tower in Dubai. You would do that in a second, right?
Oh, yeah. I was actually over in Dubai hanging out with some guys that work for the Prince, the Crown Prince, because he's a skydiver, and he was in love with skydiving. So he built his own drop zone there.
Why wouldn't he?
Why would you not? I begged them to let me jump off that thing, along with some other people too. Everybody wants to jump off the tallest building in the world. It would be cool because you could actually jump off of it. You could do this in the Freedom Tower too. You jump off, and instead of just flying away, you could just go circles around the building like Superman. Now that would be cool.
They did allow guys. They put a crane out, and these guys base jumped off it.
Yeah.
And they allowed them to do that.
You know why? Because the Crown Prince gave him permission to do that. That was the Crown Prince's number 2 guy who I met and asked if I could do it too. He's like, "Nah, we're saving it for me." So yeah, Nasser, good old Nasser.
How weird is it though, to be a guy who looks at that building? Like I look at that building, like, oh, it's so scary, and you look at it and go, like, oh, I'd love to jump off that. Right. Like, what a different mindset that is.
Where does that come from?
Yeah.
Always like that, even as a kid. Were you doing the bicycles off the ramps?
I was definitely doing bicycles off the ramps. I was definitely when I was a little kid. I wished that I can remember thinking this. I hope I live long enough that the technology is so good that we have a suit that can allow you to fly.
Yeah,
so I'm kind of living the dream now.
Yeah.
Let me say hi to Adam in Canada. A great question here, Adam.
Hey man, how's it going?
All right.
Good. Just wondering, you're going to be jumping from 30,000 feet. Generally, you've got to acclimatize to get up and down. How are you going to acclimatize? Because you're going to be, what you said, 10 minutes to get down.
Well, the key to acclimatization is going slow. And obviously, coming down, I'll go fast. But the way that it works is you have to acclimatize to go high. But to go down, the faster you go down, the better you feel.
Oh, wow.
So it's kind of the opposite in that way.
Yeah, you got to get used to it on the way up each time.
Right.
You hit another level, and then on the way down, it's just all good.
It's all good, yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't you used to have to go up and then back down a little bit? Is that still the case?
Yeah, you don't just go up until you get to the top. You go up, you'll stay for a little while at like one of the camps, and then you come back down and you rest at base camp for a little while. Then you go back up and you go a little higher the next time.
Wow, why?
Because you just can't let your body won't take it all at once. Your body just won't do it. You got to do it over weeks and weeks. It's a really long process. That's part of Everest climbing there is really hard because you have to basically be there for 2 months. And who has 2 months to be camping?
Wow, it takes that long.
Oh yeah. Everybody who's trying to climb it is there right now. Right. I'll be a few days later, but I'm leaving in just a few days. But they'll stay till the end of the month of May, most of them.
So you're leaving in a couple of days, and you're going to start your 2 months to get to the top.
Yeah. Hopefully it'll be. I acclimatize a lot quicker than most people. The guys I'm with are all big time professional guys. Even my camera guys have summited more than one time. So we should be ready to go sometime in the first part of May and be ahead of most of those other guys who will summit like 25, 23, something like that. Yeah.
How do you climb? Like, what kind of workouts do you do? You must have amazing cardio to be able to do that.
Yeah. I do a lot of running. a lot of long distance running, run for 10, 15 miles. I do that, 2 or 3 times a week. And then I'm lucky, especially now right behind my house, I got these big hills that I can run on, hike all around. So it's mostly that. Spend a little time in the gym, but it's a lot of running.
And how is there a test to know that you're acclimatized?
There kind of is, actually. A guy, one of the greatest mountain climbers in the world, friend of mine from Spain, showed me this trick that once you kind of feel like I should be acclimatized, you take your boots and socks off and you sort of press down on the bottom of your foot. And if the blood takes a long time to kind of to move back into it, so like it should just, so you push your thumb into it, it should stay white. And if it comes back, that's how you know your blood's really thick, because it's moving around a little bit slow. Or you can do old school Russian way of just cut your thumb open and see what comes out. And if it's that real thick, dark blood, then it's like, I've seen guys do that.
That is climatized, or that's not climatized?
You're acclimatized.
So they actually cut their thumbs to see how their blood's doing.
And then you got to climb with a sore thumb.
No problem.
I figure the Russians would do that, right?
Yeah, of course.
It's okay.
It's not a problem.
Don't worry.
What are you, pussy?
So this has never been done before? No one's ever parachuted off it?
No, actually, there's been not many, but I think a couple, 3 or 4 different guys have paraglided off the summit. It's been a while back, back in the 80s. And then some Sherpa guys did a tandem like a couple years ago. This is a little bit different what we're doing, but it's still the idea of jumping off the top is a pretty cool idea. I'm not the only guy who wanted to do it, that's for sure.
Right. Did you see the Felix, what was his name, Felix Baumgarten jump?
I did. I saw it. I wanted to do that too, actually. That project, he got it. Red Bull got it. But no, I would say I was happy to watch what Felix did, because in a lot of ways his project opened the doors for me to do my project. So, that's not long after that, I made my partnership with Discovery, and we got together and started working on it.
When you're falling, because there was one point where he's falling, I mean, he was at such a different altitude, but he was spinning out of control, and I guess he put his arms up like almost like goalposts. How do you stop yourself from spinning out of control? Because he couldn't use that little parachute that the guys use.
Right. No, I watched him, and he did this, he's trying to stabilize himself, because you can't pull the parachute when you're spinning out of control. It's the same thing no matter what kind of flight you're doing.
You'll get tangled, right?
Yeah, I mean, he was way up there, so there was literally no resistance at all. And I think he knew there would be, as he came down, there was more and more and more atmosphere to kind of catch him a little bit. But he did. He just spread his arms and legs like a starfish, they call it. And you just try to stabilize yourself like that.
Does it work? If there's no air, you just...
It does work, but I mean, at super high altitudes. I mean, I expect to drop a little bit before I feel the suit bite into the air. A little bit, but we'll see.
If he had, because I thought of that too, like what if you panic at that height? He jumped, I think, from 120,000. Say you're at 98,000 or 106,000, you just have a panic attack and yank.
Oh my God.
Because you're falling so fast. I think he broke the sound barrier. If you pull the chute at that speed, would it rip you or would it really hurt you?
The one thing about any kind of flight, especially, like wingsuit stuff, you have to try to slow yourself down. You don't want to pull the parachute at the last second, because you could break your neck. You're going really fast. And so, but I think for Felix, he only probably had a limited amount of oxygen in the suit anyway, so he needed to make it down. Like if he pulled it that high, he'd be up there for long.
Oh, yeah, too long,
Way too long,
So, wow. So this is going to happen in May.
Yeah.
Sometime, but we don't have an exact date yet, right?
No, it's all weather dependent, but, we'll know like about a week out what day we're shooting for, and it'll definitely, Discovery Channel will let everybody know when we're going for it.
Yeah, they're good with
You guys should hook up a little camera or something to you to watch it all the way down.
There's going to be a camera on it.
Should hook up one camera.
You've heard of the GoPros, right?
Oh, yeah.
Take a Polaroid with you. Snap a few. That's going to be great.
He's got to go.
It's it's going to be on Discovery whenever it is. It will be announced.
Sometime in May, definitely, though.
On Twitter, I'm sure you're on. Can we give his Twitter out? It's, your website. Joby, how do you say it?
Ogwyn.
JOBYOGWYN.com. It's one word.
Do you have a weekly show or?
No, the only shows that I'm doing are with Discovery Channel right now. Yeah, they keep me pretty busy.
Cool, very cool. Yeah, it was nice meeting you, man.
Great, man.
You too.
Yeah,
thanks, guys.
Come back and talk to us after you complete this.
I'm coming back to New York right after, so maybe we can get together.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That'd be great.
And Jimmy, you got something?
Cool. Tampa Side Splitters in 2 weeks, and then I'm here at Caroline's the 24th through the 27th.
Cool. I think we're done.
Done.
Thank you, sir.
Nice.
See you guys tomorrow.
Later.
The Opie and Anthony Show has drawn to a close. Stay tuned to reflect, relive, and get the story